Have you ever felt like nothing is going your way? No matter how hard you try, life keeps throwing you curveballs. If you're here, it's probably because you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of asking, why me? Here's the thing, you're not alone. So many of us wake up with that weight in our chest, wondering if things will ever get better. But what if I told you that there's a reason behind this chaos? And even more importantly, what if I told you that you have the power to turn it all around? Stay with me, because in this conversation, we're going to uncover why things might feel like they're falling apart, and most importantly, how you can shift your life today. Take a moment to reflect. Can you think of one situation in your life right now that feels out of control? Hold that thought, because we're about to dive deep. Recognizing the season of your life. Life isn't a straight line, it's a cycle. Just like nature goes through seasons, so do we. Maybe you're in what feels like winter right now, cold, isolated, and barren. But even winter has a purpose. It's a season of preparation, where seeds are planted deep beneath the soil, waiting for spring. Sometimes, when life feels like it's breaking us, it's actually preparing us. God allows certain challenges not to punish us, but to teach us, refine us, and remind us that growth comes through pressure. Ask yourself, what season am I in right now? If it feels heavy, remember, winter always turns into spring. Comment below, what's one thing you've learned during a difficult season of your life? Your story might inspire someone else. The hidden power of perspective. Have you ever noticed how two people can face the same challenge, but respond in completely different ways? One feels defeated, while the other somehow finds strength. The difference isn't the situation, it's the perspective. When life feels overwhelming, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong. We replay failures in our minds, magnify our mistakes, and convince ourselves that nothing will change. But here's a truth to hold on to. What you focus on grows. The Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. If you think your life is falling apart, that will be your reality. But if you start to see your challenges as opportunities for growth, your life can begin to shift. It's not easy. I'm not here to pretend it is, but the first step is to ask yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? Maybe it's patience, maybe it's humility, or maybe it's faith. Even in the chaos, there's always something to be grateful for. Gratitude doesn't erase problems, but it does remind us that we're still being guided by a higher power. Take a moment right now. What's one small thing you're grateful for, even in the middle of your struggle? Share it in the comments. Gratitude is contagious. Are you listening to the signs? Sometimes we feel like everything is falling apart because we're holding on to something we're meant to let go of. Maybe it's a toxic relationship, a draining job, or even a mindset that's no longer serving you. God has a way of nudging us when it's time for change. But let's be honest, we don't always listen. We ignore the signs, and when we do, the nudges get louder. The closed doors, the dead ends, the overwhelming feeling that something isn't right. What if the chaos you're experiencing isn't punishment, but redirection? What if God is gently, or maybe not so gently, telling you, I have something better for you? Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I holding on to that I need to release? It's scary, I know. Letting go feels like losing control. But remember, God's plan is always greater than our own. I want you to think about this. Is there something in your life you've been afraid to release? Let us know in the comments. You might find you're not the only one feeling this way. Trusting the process when you can't see the path. One of the hardest things to do in life is trust God when the road ahead is unclear. We like control. We like knowing what's next. But when everything seems to be falling apart, it often feels like God is silent. But silence doesn't mean absence. Sometimes God is working behind the scenes, putting pieces together in ways we can't see or understand. It's like a tapestry. On the back, it looks like a chaotic mess of threads. But when you turn it around, it reveals a beautiful masterpiece. In moments of doubt, it's easy to question God's plan. Why me? Why now? But what if instead we asked, what are you preparing me for? Trust requires surrender, and surrender means believing that even in the pain, God is still in control. If you're struggling to trust right now, I want to remind you of this. God has never left you before, and He won't start now. What's one area in your life where you need to trust God more? Write it down or share it in the comments. It's the first step to releasing control. Taking aligned action. Faith without action is like planting seeds without watering them. If you're asking God to change your life, you also need to do your part. Sometimes we stay stuck because we're waiting for a miracle, but God is waiting for us to move. Let me ask you, what's one small step you can take today to move closer to the life you're praying for? Maybe it's making a phone call you've been putting off. Maybe it's starting that business, applying for that job, or setting boundaries with someone who's draining your energy. You don't have to have it all figured out. The Bible reminds us, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. Notice it says, a lamp to your feet, not a spotlight on the whole journey. God often shows us just the next step, and that's enough. Start small, but start now. What's one small action you can take today to move toward the life you want? Drop it in the comments. It's your commitment to yourself. The power of community and prayer. One of the biggest lies we believe during hard times is that we have to face them alone. We isolate ourselves, thinking no one will understand our pain. But the truth is, we were never meant to carry our burdens alone. The Bible says, where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them. Matthew 18:20. Community has power. Whether it's a trusted friend, a prayer group, or even this space we're creating right here, having people to walk with you makes the journey lighter. And don't underestimate the power of prayer. Prayer isn't just asking for things, it's aligning your heart with God's will. It's surrendering your fears, your doubts, and your plans to the one who knows what's best for you. Who's someone you can reach out to this week for support or prayer? If you don't have someone, let us know in the comments, and we'll pray for you. You're not alone. Finding peace in the present moment. When life feels overwhelming, our minds tend to spiral into 2 dangerous directions: regret about the past or anxiety about the future. We replay what went wrong, wishing we could change it, or we obsess over what could go wrong next. But here's the thing. Peace is only found in the present. Jesus said, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Matthew 6:34. Worrying doesn't fix tomorrow's problems, it just steals today's peace. If you're feeling lost right now, I want you to pause. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and remind yourself, I'm exactly where I need to be right now. Even in the discomfort, there is a purpose. God doesn't waste moments, even the painful ones. Start small by anchoring yourself in the now. Focus on one thing you can do in this moment to care for your soul, whether it's a prayer, journaling, or simply sitting in silence with God. Let's ground ourselves, share in the comments. What is one thing you can do today to bring a little more peace into your life? The role of faith in turning things around. Faith isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. Faith is about believing in the unseen, trusting that God's promises are bigger than your problems. When you're in the middle of the storm, faith is your anchor. It's what keeps you steady when the winds of life try to knock you down. But here's the thing about faith. It grows through action. Each time you step forward, even when you're afraid, your faith becomes stronger. Ask yourself, what would my life look like if I truly believed that everything happening right now is part of God's plan for me? How would I think, act, and speak differently? Faith isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about dancing in the rain, knowing the storm has a purpose. What's one area of your life where you're ready to step out in faith? Share it below. It could inspire someone else to take that step too. If you've made it this far, I want you to know something. you are not forgotten. The challenges you're facing right now are not the end of your story. In fact, they might just be the beginning of something greater than you can imagine. The Bible reminds us, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Notice it doesn't say some things. It says all things. Even the pain, even the failures, even the heartbreak. Your struggles are shaping you into the person God created you to be. But it starts with a choice. Will you let this season break you, or will you let it build you? The power to change your life starts with surrendering it to the one who holds it all. Take one final step today. Write in the comments one word that describes what you're taking away from this message. Hope, faith, courage. Let's end this conversation by declaring what we're stepping into. You're never alone. If this message touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs hope today. And remember, you are never alone. God is with you, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Keep the faith, keep moving forward, and trust that your breakthrough is coming.